For those of you who watch my Through the Ages series, you'll know the weapons that we talk about there are ones that have been present for a long time in the franchise. Weapons that you know and love, weapons that fit that era. But what about weapons that haven't been included all the way through the franchise? Weapons like this one, the 9A91 Carbine. Only present in the two Bad Company games, a proper weapon of the spin-off series, and one that until recently I'd completely forgotten about. It's an absolute beast in Bad Company 2, especially when you use it in a slightly different way than what was intended. The 9A91 in real life is actually a weapon designed to be used at very specific distances. It's Russian made and only has an effective range of about 100 meters or so it's well and truly a close quarters weapon. It houses a rather unheard of round as well, the 9x39mm round, also developed by the Russians, or what was then the Soviet Union back in the 1980s. Its design intent was to allow a suppressed firearm to have more power, range and penetration than a handgun, thus giving the holder a weapon that could be used with a little bit more flexibility, as we see here with the 9A91. It's fully automatic and compact, and that trumps a semi-auto handgun in every aspect. The 9A91 in Bad Company 2 does come with a suppressor attached, which can't be removed, and it provides a similar setup to what you might expect a real-life 9A91 to come equipped with. The weapon is given to the Engineer class in Bad Company 2, and it's the starter weapon as well, so it requires no XP to unlock it. It's there from the start. It does have some good qualities, and I should expect that. It is a starter weapon. They're there to coach you into using that class effectively. But if you don't pay close enough attention to the rest of the statistics, you might miss the magic that this weapon can contain. The first few stats that you need to pay attention to are the rate of fire and the ammunition capacity. It fires at a fairly steady 600 rounds a minute, but it only comes with 20 round magazines and one in the chamber. So what you've got is a slow firing, low ammunition carbine. Perhaps I can now see why I'd forgotten about this weapon for a long time. Normally that combination amounts to plenty of lost gunfights, and considering the weapon is built to work at its best in close quarters, a slow rate of fire and low ammunition capacity really isn't going to help you. So why do you need to pay close attention to those statistics then? Well, when you tie it in with the third one, the bullet damage, it becomes a completely different beast. Alongside the UMP and the SCAR-L, the 9A91 features the highest damage output in the class, 20 damage out to about 20 meters or so, but it trumps all of the other carbines and SMGs when it comes to minimum damage, where it stands at 14.3 all the way out to 40 meters. No other weapon comes close in the Engineer class, and that stat combined with the rate of fire and the ammunition capacity starts to make a little bit more sense. The weapon, yes, is built to work well in close quarters, but where it can really excel is in the medium range battles. See, with a slow rate of fire and high damage, you can turn this weapon from a close quarters sidekick into a tap fire beast for longer range combat. The minimum damage really reaches out at longer ranges, and with a low recoil to begin with, some of those targets that might have been out of reach are actually much easier to hit than you might think. With that kind of power in your hands, you suddenly become a dangerous player on the battlefield. Bad Company 2 makes it relatively easy to know what class you're up against. The Assault is hidden behind his combat mask, the Engineer is usually always having an RPG slung over his back, the Medic has their flat caps and the Russians is actually a red beret, and lastly the Recon, they're both wearing Bushwookie outfits. People have it in their heads already what kind of weapon you're going to be using based on what you look like. It's very easy to tell what class you're up against and whether they can beat you from that angle. But here, playing with the 9A91, you can kind of trick people a little bit. The gun stretches out the furthest in the class and will likely throw off your opponent if you manage to catch them off guard. Be wary though, just because this technique sometimes works doesn't mean it will always work. You need to be prepared to be beaten every once in a while by somebody who is simply better equipped in the gunfight than you are. Bad Company 2 is just one of those games where I feel like the gunplay actually benefits the person who is concentrating the most, and you can't simply just get away from a gunfight like you can in, say, Battlefield 3. The movement system in Bad Company 2 is very clunky, and you kind of just have to face up to the fact that you're in a gunfight, so you either need to win it or you're going to lose it. Running away from a gunfight in Bad Company 2 isn't something that happens very often. It does happen at longer ranges, but if you're right up close with somebody or sort of in the medium range, you need to complete that gunfight and then move on. I think it's a much more skillful game than some other Battlefields out there, and maybe that's why I keep coming back to it. I've played this game on PC now for more than 100 hours, and that's more than I've played Battlefield Hardline in total. And don't forget, I played Bad Company 2 on the PS3 when that came out for something like 1,200 hours. So this game is definitely keeping me engaged. And there are plenty of other little gems in Bad Company 2 as well, like the M1 Garand and its reload sound. It is just perfect in this game. Right now, I don't think there is a better game that does the M1 Garand better than what Bad Company 2 does. And then you've got the repair tool assignment called The Dentist. I did a video on that a little while back, and I just really enjoy coming back and playing this game. It really does keep me entertained, and maybe it is nostalgia simply because it was my first Battlefield game. But hey, there are plenty of people who I am sure are doing exactly the same. There's always servers up. Most of them are full. I mean, even in the server browser right now on my screen, I'm looking at it, there are 7 full Rush servers in Europe. So there are still plenty of people playing this game. And I'm likely to still be playing it all the way up to and past the release of Battlefield 1. I'll probably play it until EA just turn the servers off. It really is my favourite game. I just absolutely love Bad Company 2. Thanks very much for watching. If you've got Bad Company 2, then maybe go out and try the 9A91. Let me know what you think and see if you're surprised as I am that it can be that good. But until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.